As I was driving to the studio today, I had to take a detour twice. The whole city seems to be under construction, doesn't it? Ruth Bell Graham grew up in China, the daughter of medical missionaries. It was a warm, loving home, and family prayer and Bible study were the bywords. Ruth said she couldn't remember a morning when her father wasn't already up reading his Bible or kneeling in prayer before she got up for breakfast. Her heart's desire throughout her youth was to become a missionary to Tibet. While majoring at art and Bible at Wheaton College, she met a young man named Billy Graham. According to him, it was love at first sight. The two dated throughout the rest of their college years. But as they began talking about marriage, one very real issue stood in the way. In Ruth's mind, her desire to serve God meant that she needed to serve Him in Tibet. Billy wasn't opposed to becoming a missionary, but he felt such a strong pull to preach the gospel as an evangelist. The two took time apart from one another to pray for God's leading in their lives. Billy was actually preaching right here in Florida when he received Ruth's letter, simply stating, "Yes, I'll marry you." Other than sharing that news with the congregation, Billy says he doesn't really remember much about the rest of the sermon that night. In later years, Ruth wrote that she had absolutely no regrets about letting go of missions in order to marry Billy Graham. She said, "I would have missed the opportunity of a lifetime to serve God with the finest man I knew, having 5 terrific children and 19 of the most delightful, interesting, and lovable grandchildren imaginable. All this, plus an unusual, if not an easy life." Ruth said that she needed to let go of her route to serve God in order to see God's detour to obey Him and receive His best. Ruth wrote 14 books and often corresponded one-on-one with those beginning a walk with Jesus. She ran the household while Billy was touring the world. She taught Sunday school, cared for their aging parents, and offered godly counsel to her husband. Sometimes we feel as though we're not really making an impact on the world. We get tempted to compare ourselves to those who seem to have more dynamic talents. Can you imagine comparing yourself to Billy Graham from day to day? God uses each of us in His own way, with our own unique gifts, to glorify the Father and to answer our prayer that His kingdom come, His will be done, as it is in heaven. Ruth Bell Graham is certainly in that great cloud of witnesses surrounding us, reminding us that the Lord has the best route for us, plans for good and not for evil. We need only listen for His leading, keeping our eyes on Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith.